Welcome to the Active Retirement Network. I'm Bill Sammons. My friend Jack Eason is here. Jack is an author. He's a lot of things. Been a friend of mine. How many years now? Gosh,
What are you thinking? 30 years.
30 some years.
Long time.
We were young.
Yeah.
We were young people. One of the many things that Jack has done is he's an author, and he wrote a book about loneliness. This book came out just before COVID, and in my thinking, you were ahead of your time a bit with the topic of loneliness, because during COVID, the world changed. And I think the problem of loneliness became amplified and was then worldwide. But let's talk about that a little bit. And first of all, define loneliness and tell us why you were inspired to write the book.
Yeah, loneliness. It's you can be lonely even when you're in a crowd.
Yeah.
We sometimes think loneliness means alone. Alone is by yourself, and it's good to be alone sometimes. I like to be alone sometimes by myself. But it was actually inspired. The whole content was kind of inspired talking to my kids, who at the time were college students. This again was before the pandemic. And they said, hey, they were watching my mom and dad and my wife's parents saying, hey, they have these supper clubs and grandma and granddad are going out to eat all the time. And we don't have those kind of friends. How do we start now having those kind of friendships when we get grandmother's age and granddad's age? And I'm like, wow. And as we started to kind of peel that onion and talk more, we discovered, you know what? Wow, my own kids are struggling with loneliness, and they didn't even realize it because they didn't even understand the true definition of friendship to start with.
Right.
So it's kind of how it all started.
I wonder if this plays into that. The friendships are, I know, for instance, the terminology, in my day, you were dating somebody. Now you're talking, but you're not really talking.
That's right.
You're doing this, and they call it talking.
Yeah, you're texting. It's all digital, right? It's all the relationships are digital. They can add and subtract friends with a mouse click, as even us, we can do on social media and things. So I think it really has dramatically changed the definition of friendship.
Yeah.
So we actually were talking about this that same evening at the dinner table, and I said, so how many friends do you have on, for now that our age has invaded Facebook, they've built and they've gone to Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. But I said, so how many friends do you have on social media? And they gave me whatever the number was. And I said, okay, how many of those could you actually reach out to at 2 a.m. and would actually respond? And they were like, probably not any.
Yeah.
And I said, so we really need to think about even social media kind of saying those are friends. They're not really friends. So we really had to dive into what relationships are all about and how to have effective friendships.
What is the downside of, and I would imagine there are a lot, pick one or two, the downsides of that loneliness epidemic?
Wow. It affects everybody. It affects the age of my kids, who are in that 18 to 24-year-old bracket. That's kind of the largest group.
Okay.
The second largest group is the retiree age bracket, the older bracket. And some of that is because maybe you've been married to a spouse 40, 50 years, they pass. You knew your relationship is us, but now it's just me. What do you do? Life changes. And so it's really affecting everybody. And people start to pull back because maybe they haven't had that relationship outside of maybe a close companion for a while. And we know in our culture, it's very difficult, not just because of social media, just because of the way our culture is, to develop what we would call real, genuine friendship.
So I want to dig into that a little bit about how to not be lonely anymore, to develop community. But let's make that in our next episode.
Okay.
When we've talked about the problem, let's get into the solution on our next episode.
All right. Sounds great.
Thank you, Jack.